Wicked. Cool, so you're on the Phat Club with myself, Kid Fury, and Mr. Specs, also in the building. And we're in the section of the show we like to call Celebrity Phat Club. So today is an artist that I'm going to bill as the man now making Mr. Rifkin his money. And that is billed by many as one to keep an eye on in '09. So we're about to get the scoop from the man himself. Welcome to Oxford, Mr. Asher Roth.
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Thank you for having me on, for real.
So let's get into this, man, because this is an exciting moment for me. I'm gonna be blatantly obvious with you, and I'm gonna say I'm not the type of person for letting the industry form my opinion.
For sure.
So I'd heard about you a long time ago,
right.
and in all honesty, I kind of slept.
Right,
I was like, I've got plenty of underground
stuff.
stuff.
I feel you, man.
You know what I mean? So I kind of
100%.
because I'd heard of you through the industry, I was like, I'm just gonna listen to my stuff, and I'll hear him when the time's right. So the time is right.
There it is, man.
So
timing is everything.
Definitely. So really, just tell us a little bit about yourself, I guess from the beginning, because now I want to know.
It broke down, I guess, and really kind of, you know, these bulletins of coming from Morrisville, Pennsylvania, graduating from Pennsbury High School, moved to Westchester University, kind of staying in state. In school for elementary education, I was kind of doing just rapping on the side. You know, I put out a CD in high school and with my buddy Brian Sellers, but just stuff we downloaded off mp3.com. And then in college, I was rapping over like Kanye beats and DJ Premier beats, and started doing some original music, but it wasn't a good representation of who I was. And started to kind of move a little bit, and then with MySpace, I wasn't promoting it or anything like that, but I had the Kanye freestyles and the DJ Premier freestyles and stuff like that up on that. And you know, right place, right time. Linked up with Scooter down and moved myself down to Atlanta for a year. Okay. Signed with SRC Universal and with Mr. Rifkin, and you know, put out the Greenhouse Effect mixtape with DJ Drama, DJ Cannon, and now we have the full-length LP coming, Asleep in the Bread out April 21st. I think April 20th in the UK, and yeah, and now here we are, man, anxiously awaiting the debut of the album. We have I Love College, which was the first single, and it just kind of like, man, I was kicking it 3, 4, 5, 6 months into my Atlanta trip, and I had really missed school, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I had left, and I was like, man, I want to go to college for the rest of my life, you know, and it really started to write itself. So it was more or less just my confession, but at the same time, man, it's been a journey, and the journey just began. Like you said, timing is pretty much everything. Timing
is everything. So on the real, like I said, I've only just peeped the Greenhouse Effects mixtape, and that was, I'm talking in the whip on the way down here.
That's dope.
That's my first time listening to it. So I kind of feel like I just heard you win a battle. I feel like I just heard you write off a lot of your critics.
Right.
Like, I'm going to ask what is a very obvious question. What's been the hardest thing for you? Is it the case of being a white artist in a predominantly black industry, or the whole white artist situation?
That's the thing. I mean, it's been really the biggest battle has been the whole M comparison, where people, but that's your struggle as an artist. When you come out, I mean, people are automatically going to compare it to something. That's just what they do. You know what I mean? They're like, this comes out as like, to understand it, you compare it to something else. Yeah. And with my case, you know, not a lot of white rappers have broken through to the mainstream. You can count them on one hand. But there's a lot, like you said, on the underground scene, there's a lot of white rappers. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. This isn't reinventing the wheel or anything. But those who have broken through to the mainstream, it's very seldom that it happens. You know, and hip hop essentially is still black music. So the whole white thing is it's very, very interesting. But you know, my whole thing is I very much pride myself on being a good person before a good rapper. You know what I mean? And I think that really goes a long, long way. And people are starting to notice that instead, rather than being like, yeah, you know, maybe they might not be in love with the music, but they're like, I like Asher as a dude. You know what I mean? Yeah, so like, so that's kind of the first battle. But the hardest thing really has been the battle, and you know, the album will successfully do this, but differentiating yourself as an artist, and really, what are you trying to accomplish? Who are you? You know what I mean? And I think that's a battle for everybody, though. You know what I mean? It's just harder when people try to pigeonhole you.
Yeah, like that. All right, so along these same lines, I can actually say I'm a big fan of the whole underground scene, and some things you just said there will relate to this. So I still hold dear a track known as Tower of Babel. Right. So it's by a one copyright. Is there actually a beef between the two?
No, I mean that's all him, man. I really pay. I don't have the energy for that, man. I don't have the mindset for that stuff. So, you know, he apparently released a track, something.
Yeah, which like, I do the apparently.
Yeah.
Thing, like it's.
I've heard about it, but you know, I don't really pay any mind to that stuff, man. Yeah. You know, I can't focus on that stuff.
So are you actually a battle MC?
No, my whole thing is more cipher-ish, you know what I mean? I like to hang out and just kind of, you know, smoke, roll a J up and enjoy my time with my friends. So, like that whole, I understand it. I like the competitive edge. And, like, but you're talking about, you understand the underground scene. There are people who make a living battle rapping. Like, that is their thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to be very careful, you know what I mean? Because if you're not a battle rapper, there are people that are battle rappers.
Yeah, and
that's it.
And there's two different types of battle rappers
You know
as well. You've got the people that are literally writing rhymes for certain MCs,
Exactly.
and then you've got the people that are just like serial killers. I
You
guess.
know what I mean? And they have this like certain mindset, you know what I mean? And that's where they shine. So for me, it's very much my whole ordeal is much more songwriting and you know and creating music, rather. So you know, people who start to understand when they hear the album, they'll really start to understand that it's really starting to blend genres of music.
Yeah.
It's not really straight rap, you know what I mean? So, but it's interesting, man. It's very interesting.
Phat Club.